The ability to foresee the future is something that hasn't really been developed in the story arc of the Genie experience. There could be a whole stream of Marvel movies that could flow from Tua's idea that he's inadvertently thrown out there for the creative space. Regardless, last night, Jalen Waddle is who he was referring to, because Jalen Waddle has been awesome as a rookie. Slow start, but really has gotten going. Kind of like the Dolphins. 1-7 with a 7-game losing streak, now a 7-game winning streak. First team in the history of the entire National Football League, Chris, to have both a 7-game losing streak and a 7-game winning streak in the same season. It's incredible what the Dolphins have done, but the planets have aligned for them nicely. Look, after they beat the Ravens, I could see them getting to 7-7 when you looked at their schedule. They still had to go win the games, and they did. But they had not a difficult path to get to 7-7. I thought it would end last night. I didn't know last night that more than 20 Saints would not be available due to the COVID reserve list. And no excuses in today's NFL, but that was a huge factor. We both came back, peeled back the curtain. The PFTPM, Chris Sims Unbuttoned, Joint Picks podcast was done. It was in the can. It was over. It was taped. We saw that Taysom Hill had been put on the COVID reserve list, and we came back up and retaped that game, and we flipped our picks to the Dolphins. I mean, it became obvious at that point the Dolphins were going to win that game, and they suffocated them. And you had the under as one of your best bets of the week. There was 23 total points scored in the game, and the over-under was like 37 as of Thursday. So, we saw where this was going.
Yeah, that's right.
Once the Saints ended up in their COVID hole.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You're right. I mean, it's tough. It's tough sledding for some of these teams out there right now. Yeah, there's not depth. There's quality players missing on the football field. I mean, you're playing a quarterback in Ian Book who, clearly was not ready. And again, to defend him, nor should he be ready to a certain degree. I mean, he certainly wasn't expecting to be starting a game this late in the year, for the better part of the year, being the third and fourth string type of quarterback. So it was tough sledding. But, regardless, what you said to start, it's still amazing. Yeah, the schedule hasn't been tough, but holy crap, 7 in a row. I mean, it's been impressive. Defense is special. Got studs all over the place. So I know the quality of the opponent's not good, for most part. But the quality of play has still been pretty damn good, like we saw last night. And we saw a defense that has special players throughout and an offense that knows what works for them. And I think that's what Miami's scary here these last 2 weeks of the year when they got to play the Titans and the Patriots. That won't be easy. We know that. But the Dolphins, I think the thing you take away from watching the game last night more than anything is they know who they are. They know they play a certain way. They're comfortable with that. We're going to play defense. We're going to cause turnovers. We're going to create chaos for you're a quarterback. And on our side of the ball, we're going to be conservative. And, find a million ways to give the ball to Waddle and run the ball. And it's Gesicki and Waddle and Gesicki and Waddle. And Tua makes a handful of plays here and there, and they don't turn it over or, limited turnovers. And they're going to be tough to beat because of how dangerous their defense is right now. And that's what's kind of fun to watch.
I'm looking at their 7-game losing streak. A few of those games were close.
I know.
They were close,
yes.
Right? And then they beat the Texans 17-9 in Week 9, and that was the turnaround. The Thursday night game in Baltimore was when we first became convinced that – I know it's when I became convinced they could make their path to 500 when you looked at their schedule. And their defense is really good. Their offense is doing just enough. Hey, Tua had a great throw down the sideline last night to Mac Hollins. He dropped it right in. Yes, he had an interception where he badly overthrew a guy, but you're going to have some good and you're going to have some bad. When the rest of the team is as good as the Dolphins are, you can have some good and some bad, and you can overcome a periodic mistake. But Tua's looked good. Jalen Waddle's been phenomenal. There's your schedule right there. Here's the throw to Mac Hollins. I mean, it is a little underthrown. He had to adjust to the ball a little bit, but it's not like the defender adjusted to the ball and knocked it away. When you're beaten as badly as that guy was, it's kind of hard to recover, even though the ball was just a hair underthrown. But they got it done. 8 sacks of Ian Book, and he was swallowed up so quickly. There was some reporting done on Friday. Jeff Duncan of the New Orleans Times-Picayune, who's been covering that team for years, said that they put up the bat signal for Drew Brees and that Drew considered it. And I think Drew would have gotten the ball out faster than Ian Book.
Sure.
But in some of those plays, Ian Book was devoured before he could even get the ball situated in his hands.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is not an easy game, like, for anybody. I don't care if you're Ian Book or even Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees would tell you, like, well, coming back to play the Dolphins, well, I don't know if that's the game I would have picked to come back and play. And then look at the scheme here. I mean, you don't know who the hell's blitzing, who's dropping. I mean, that's a great play right there. There was 8 guys at the line of scrimmage, 4 blitz, 4 drop. You don't know. Then on top of it, Mike, you talk about, like, guys that can swallow the quarterback up. They got studs everywhere on their defense. I mean, corners, safeties, they got freaks of nature at defensive end and defensive tackle. Miami, they're impressive. That's why they got to continue to stay the course right now with Chris Grier and Brian Flores. Yeah, the quarterback situation wasn't perfect. They missed on tackle position, the offensive tackle position. Other than that, damn, the team is good and got a lot of, like, stud players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, like you're talking about. I mean, 2 big people in the middle, and Raekwon Davis and Christian Wilkins, and these great corners out there. And you're right, Mike. I mean, with the Saints and some of the issues they have, and they weren't a great offense to begin with. They had moments of the game where Ian Book was, yes, I think, totally overwhelmed by the scheme, the play, the players on the field, and the Dolphins defense, I think, kind of dominated the Saints for the most part of the night. We know they did.
I have a feeling they will be sticking with Brian Flores as the
better.
coach and Chris Grier as the GM in Miami, although with Stephen Ross, the owner of the team, you never quite know. And frankly, I think that his infatuation with Deshaun Watson that lingered up until the trade deadline is one of the reasons why they struggled.
Sure.
The moment that conversation ended is the moment that the Dolphins started winning game after game after game after game after game. And I don't think it's a coincidence, because you and I both know, we've heard similar things.
Yeah.
It was not an ideal situation in that building with the constant chatter of Deshaun Watson, the never-ending possibility that Deshaun Watson was going to show up any given day and supplant Tua Tagovailoa in only his second season after he was the 5th overall pick in the draft. It was a distraction. It was a problem. And once it ended, that's when Tua did what I had hoped he would have done back in late August, when it really became a brush fire and it looked like it was potentially going to happen before Labor Day weekend. Internalize it all and go out and prove to them that they don't need to be thinking about Deshaun Watson. After the trade deadline came and went, that's when he became that guy, and now they really do have something to ponder.
Yeah.
Do they
Yeah.
continue this obsession with upgrading at quarterback? And when I say they, I mean Stephen Ross. Or do they ride with what they have and let Tua continue to develop and let the team continue to grow and just see what you have there, instead of having this ongoing quest, this ongoing fever dream to land a franchise quarterback? That's what's motivated Stephen Ross so much over the past 10 years, and it hasn't gotten them that quarterback that he covets. Maybe they should just try to develop the one they have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like a bad alternative. Again, maybe if Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers fall in your lap, you do it. But I don't think it's, again, you better have it, like, ready or know that somebody's coming to town. I mean, as we've talked about. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm looked at as a Tua hater of the world, which I'm not. But, again, you can win with Tua. We're seeing that. I mean, I think your point's real. You're dealing with, like, all that chatter about Deshaun Watson. I mean, that probably a big part in why, they didn't come together and beat Jacksonville in London and were, kind of underwhelming in that game. Lost some games there where they probably shouldn't have, where their team was more talented. But, they get Tua. They finally go, okay, the trade's not going to happen. It forces the team, the coaching staff, everybody to go all in on Tua. And now you see, even with the offense, they've grown that around him a little bit. Yeah, he's not a world beater. He's not. He's not a superstar. He's not going to be Justin Herbert. Again, we've gotten to the point where Tua, when he throws like a 15-yard.
Whoa.
Yeah, go ahead.
After seeing Justin Herbert against the Texans on Sunday, I may want to revisit that comparison.
Oh, Mike, stop it.
It's not like these books are completed on these guys. They're either going to develop or they're not. They're going to improve or they're not. And Herbert had a pick six on. I mean, look, I know it happens to the best of them, but let's not put Herbert in the Hall of Fame just yet. Just like we're not putting Joe Burrow in the Hall of Fame just yet.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.